Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain an erotic thriller series called Dark Desire from 2020. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The 9th episode opens, and everyone, including Brenda, Alma, Leonardo, and Esteban, is seen in a magic show. The magician invites Brenda to the stage to show some magic tricks. At first, he shows a magic trick involving cards, and after that, he performs another magic and vanishes Brenda from the chair. Everyone seems amazed and starts clapping. The magician then asks the audience if someone else would like to vanish, and Esteban recommends Leonardo. Leonardo hesitates but gets on the stage. At first, he vanishes too, but after uncovering the veil again, he is seen with Brenda sitting in his lap in the same chair. This gets the audience more wowed by the magicians. The scene cuts to Leonardo and Esteban fighting in his bar. Esteban starts strangling him with his arm but lets him go. He then tells Leonardo that he did call Alma and met secretly, but not for the reason he thinks. Leonardo doesn't believe him. Esteban tells him that it was because of Brenda as they were investigating the case. He also admitted lying to Leonardo about closing Brenda's case. He then asks Leonardo why he shot him that day. Leonardo replies that he didn't know that it was Esteban and thought he was a thief. Esteban then asks Leonardo what he was doing at Brenda's house that day. Leonardo replies that he was there for the same reason Esteban was there. He admitted cheating but backed up, saying it was just a one-night stand. Esteban gets agitated as Brenda was Alma's best friend and asks how Leonardo could do this. Leonardo adds that Alma doesn't know this and tells Esteban to not tell her either. Leonardo then apologizes for shooting Esteban, but Esteban rejects him. He then tells Leonardo to stop bad-mouthing Brenda as she is dead. He also assures him that he won't tell Alma. They then agree to stop the investigation, and Leonardo leaves, thanking Esteban. The background changes, and Leonardo is in his office. He comes to Edith and tells her that he needs a warrant to exhume Brenda's body. Meanwhile, Esteban calls his godfather and tells him that he needs to talk about Brenda's death. Alma storms into Esteban's office and asks what he did to Darío. She then notices the wounds on Esteban's face from fighting Leonardo and asks about them. He tells her that Leonardo came looking for her as he suspected something was going on between them. Leonardo suggests Alma clear up the matter with Leonardo. Alma ignores him and asks what he did to Darío. Esteban replies that he did what needed to be done, but Alma asks why Darío started getting angry with her and insulted her. Esteban asks Alma if she is sure that Darío doesn't know about their investigation. Alma replies that she would never do something that would hamper the investigation. Esteban then tells her that he just talked to Darío and nothing else. Esteban explains to her that he told Darío to go somewhere quiet so that they can talk man to man. But in the background, something else is shown. We see flashbacks of Esteban holding a chainsaw in front of Darío as he is tied and beaten up. He threatens him that if Darío sees Alma again, he will use the chainsaw and tells Darío to imagine the rest. Meanwhile, he is assuring Alma to not worry as Darío won't harm her or her family again. Alma asks if he is sure, and he replies positively. The scene cuts to flashbacks again, and Esteban is seen dragging and leaving Dario's limp, tied-up body in the forest. Alma then asks him about Brenda and what if it was a murder. Esteban suggests she forget about Brenda and move on, but Alma is stubborn in her decision and wants to see the surveillance footage of Brenda's house. Esteban tells her that he will show her at a later date, but Alma tells him that if he doesn't show her now, she will tell everything to Leonardo. She also says that it has gone too far, and she can't keep lying to Leonardo. Esteban tells her that she has to keep everything undercover as everything they are doing is to protect her secret. He requests her to do this for Zoe and her family. Esteban then leaves the office. Alma is seen having flashbacks of Darío insulting her. He tells her that she is a hypocrite, and she disgusts him. She was supposed to meet him at the motel, but she planned other things for him. Alma then tells him that he is not innocent either as everything he did to her is to mess with Leonardo. Darío tells her that he doesn't know what she is talking about, and also adds that he tried to explain everything about him to her. Alma asks Darío how long he has been following her, but Darío doesn't reply, and asks if it was a good enough reason for her to send Esteban to kidnap and torture him. Alma says that she had to do this because Darío started entering her house, and she had to defend herself. Darío tells her that he didn't do anything to her. The flashback ends with Darío telling her that her wish will be granted as she will never hear from him again. Meanwhile, Darío is in his room having flashbacks of how Esteban tortured him. The scene cuts to Leonardo as Edith tells him that it is not easy to get a warrant, and they need someone in Morelos. Leonardo tells her to not teach him about the law and to talk to anyone she needs in Morelos, as he needs to exhume Brenda's body. He tells her that he needs the body to be exhumed by tomorrow morning and starts to leave but gets a call for him. Edith tells him that it's from Darío and he wants to talk. Leonardo doesn't reply to anything and leaves. The background changes to Esteban standing in front of Brenda's house. He then has flashbacks of him lying in a hospital bed after being shot in the leg. Brenda is sitting beside him, and he asks Brenda who is the one who shot him. But Brenda denies knowing anything. Leonardo comes to the room and asks how he is doing. He notifies him that he put together a team to find out who did this to Esteban. Leonardo promises to find him. The flashback ends as Esteban gets a call from Zoe. Zoe asks to meet and talk with him as things are happening at her house. Esteban then assures her that everything has been sorted out and she shouldn't worry. Zoe then sees Darío holding a balloon in front of her, and she ends the call with Esteban. The scene cuts to Leonardo driving and having flashbacks of the time when he shot Esteban. He tries to call the police, but Brenda stops him and tells him to leave. She then goes to Esteban and he tells her to call for an ambulance. The flashback ends and we see Alma coming back home. She asks Christy about Zoe, but she replies that Zoe is not home, but Leonardo is waiting for her. Leonardo comes and tells her that Darío called him. Alma is shocked, but Leonardo reveals that he interviewed him for an assistant position. Alma asks why he didn't tell her before, but Leonardo tells her that he waited for the deal to be finalized. He then tells Alma that Darío didn't take the job. He also tells Alma that Dario's criminal record came up clean, but Alma asks if he is sure about it. Leonardo asks why she has doubts about him. Alma tells him that it's not like that. Alma then asks if he is hiring him now that he knows he has a good background, but Leonardo tells her that Darío turned down the offer. Alma sees wounds on Leonardo's face and asks about them. Leonardo then apologizes for his behavior before and tells her about going to Esteban. Alma replies that she knows. Leonardo tells her that he can't imagine losing her, and they start kissing each other. The scene cuts to Darío reciting a poem to Zoe on campus. Zoe tells him that all of this doesn't make sense as she is not the type of girl that someone like Darío would like. Darío asks her what she meant by that. She tells him the kind that's handsome, kind, or gives balloons or reads poetry to a woman. He tells Zoe that he likes her and gives her the poetry book. He also adds that this book is about two beings who weirdly love each other. The scene cuts to Leonardo and Alma making love. Meanwhile, Zoe is reading poetry in Dario's car to him. Darío drops Zoe off at her house, and she invites him in. Darío asks if her parents are home. Zoe doesn't reply and asks to see him tomorrow. Darío starts kissing her. The background changes and Darío is talking to his mom. She is rejecting that Darío is her son. She tells him not to touch her and to stay away from her. She also tells Darío that he is dead as she killed him and he just doesn't know it. The scene changes to Alma talking to her therapist. She tells her that she doesn't know what is true, who is the victim, and who is the aggressor. She wonders if she is a hypocrite like Darío told her, but her therapist tells her that he is gaslighting her. The therapist then asks about Darío being the killer of Brenda, but Alma tells her that his criminal background came clean. The therapist tells her that then one of them is wrong, but Alma tells her that the national database is reliable, and if Darío or his family members had criminal records, it would show. Alma tells the therapist that she is unsure about Dario's father's case though, and she is feeling lost. The scene cuts to Zoe reading the poetry book in her room and remembering what happened between her and Darío. Meanwhile, Leonardo is talking to Edith about his plans tomorrow. The flashback from the beginning of the episode continues, and Alma is telling Brenda to give Leonardo back to her, but Brenda keeps telling her that she doesn't have it. Suddenly, all the people vanish and Alma is the only one remaining. She looks around and starts screaming Brenda's name. As it turns out, Alma was having a nightmare. Alma wakes up and calls someone named Veronica and asks her how she could have access to the database. The scene cuts to the cemetery where Brenda's body is being exhumed. After digging up the coffin and opening it, everyone is shocked as the body is missing. Meanwhile, Esteban is receiving Dario's father's criminal files from his godfather. He then asks whether the person who asked to hide Brenda's name as a statement was his brother. The godfather doesn't reply to anything. The scene goes back to the cemetery, and Leonardo is telling Vallejo to hide the fact that the body is missing from everyone. He also tells Vallejo to report that everything in this initiative is classified as, "This is very sensitive information." The episode ends with Brenda's coffin being buried back in the ground. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.